Hey Apex Agents, Mobius Y here with another video for Mass Effect Andromeda's multiplayer. So this is part 2 of today's character build guide where we take a look at the rare grade Salarian Architect. And this video is gameplay on gold difficulty, and we got Fire-based Derelict against Remnant. A pretty good opponent for the Salarian Architect, particularly with the build that I used, as the Remnant VI's beam damage gets a slight damage bonus against synthetic enemies, so it's really nice when the entire enemy faction is synthetic enemies. Now, the Salarian Architect is a character that requires a bit more finesse and know-how. I definitely do not recommend it if it is an early unlock for new players, because, as I said, it's tough to figure out how to build him without looking outside the game for, third-party knowledge or suggestions from people outside the game, for example. Like I said, I really didn't have any idea what I wanted to do with the character. I kind of just treated Remnant VI and Incinerate as their own individual powers, and that there was no real synergy between them and whatnot. But after further inspection, and as I played the character even more, I realized what it was actually capable of, so that all of the powers and the passive bonuses could synergize well together in order to allow this character to put out good amounts of damage at a pretty constant rate. So it's a little tricky to figure out how you want to build this character, and it's also a little tricky to play. You need to have good situational awareness as well as really good positioning. The positioning and situational awareness kind of go hand in hand, because you want to be able to hang back and pump out damage with your weapon, whatever you're using, whether it's the Shadow, whether it's the Sandstorm, whether it's, like I said, the Zalkin, or possibly even the Raptor Sniper Rifle, which I've used on this guy before as well. And, let either your Remnant VI or your teammates draw aggro away from you so that you can just, quietly hang out in the back and drop targets from a distance, as well as set off combos at a fairly safe range, and reposition accordingly if you find that a large amount of enemies have respawned fairly close to you and they're coming straight at you. So you do got to pay attention to what's going on around you. And in this particular gameplay, you'll actually see it a couple times where I kind of get a little bit of tunnel vision as to what's going on in front of me, and it costs me big time. I get either just completely overwhelmed or downed, and somebody has to try and risk themselves just to come save me for my own poor situational awareness in that moment. Simply put. So, like I said, it's just a little tricky, and it takes a bit of getting used to. The other thing that takes a little bit of getting used to is remembering to tell your Remnant VI to attack the targets that you are going to be going for in a little bit. Not what you're attacking immediately right this second all the time, but what you are going to be attacking pretty shortly. I'm not very good for that myself. There's moments where I do kind of do it, and I do target the right enemy with the Remnant VI, and then I tap the button to say, hey, attack this guy, because, set him up for a combo detonation or something. I'm going to gun down this other thing over here, like a breacher or an assembler, really quick first. So you don't really see me do that a heck of a lot, because in the heat of the moment, I have a bad habit of kind of thinking that far ahead, unfortunately. So that's on me. But you'll see that just how important positioning is with this particular character. And as I said, it's a little tough to be constantly putting yourself in good positions where you can put out some damage for about a half a minute or a minute. If you have teammates that are using infiltrators and are constantly cloaking with Tactical Cloak or Stealth Grid, and they're just dropping aggro either on you or your Remnant VI. But again, if that's happening, that's why taking the recharge speed reduction on Remnant VI is more important than taking the quicker repairs on Remnant VI, because if you have even one teammate, or heaven forbid two teammates, that are constantly cloaking when you play this guy, both you and your Remnant VI are going to have all that aggro dumped on you instead. Especially your Remnant VI can take a lot of fire. because it tends to just kind of float out in the open when it's attacking enemies and can be directly in their line of sight. So enemies are far more likely to shoot it than they are to shoot you if you're in cover and it's not, which happens all the time. So it will die fast, and it's nice being able to summon it back to you very quickly after it dies. It's a huge difference, and you don't really want to sacrifice taking things like power efficiency mods in order to do that, or taking a piece of equipment like structural ergonomics. Structural ergonomics isn't a terrible piece of equipment, but it works way better on characters that have their own powers that they can use at will to set off their combos or cause crowd control and all that jazz. Not so much for this guy. You don't really want a 30% recharge speed reduction on Incinerate and your Remnant VI in order to sacrifice your equipment piece for that. You want to try and squeeze out some more tech power damage with that, and that's why I went with Omni Capacitors in this game, or increase your own survivability with a multi-capacitor. I used a multi-capacitor for the longest time in this guy, and it's pretty god sauce, combined with the fact that you've got the shield reset at rank 6 of support systems, where every 10 seconds you use a tech power and your shields start to regenerate. That combined with a multi-capacitor actually gives you some really good survivability, so long as you do not linger too long and try to get in major firefights when there's a boss involved and several other lower quality opponents, or just a large mass of enemies. You want to be paying attention to that, and if you see that there is a big cluster of enemies kind of gathering somewhere or approaching you from a certain angle, it's simply just get the heck out of dodge, reposition somewhere where you'll be safer and can keep your gun singing and can keep dishing out your combos in order to try and clear the wave faster. So I think that'll roughly cover it. The rest of the gameplay should speak for itself, so I hope it is as helpful as the build breakdown from part 1. As I said, if you want to see the build breakdown where I show you the exact boosters, equipment, and weapon, as well as the skill point allocation on this character for this game, check the link in the description below for part 1. It'll take you right to the character build breakdown. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of the gameplay. This has been Mobius Y for Mass Effect Andromeda's multiplayer. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the battlefield. Good luck, Apex.